Look how far we've come, all the things we've done. Did it all with love, beauty from the bottom up. All I want is you, you're my favorite view. But there's nothing new, girl, you made my heart beat.
And we are back.
We are back, Bumble Bitches.
Season 3, episode 3 of the To Be Better podcast.
So this email is called Moving Past Infidelity. Hello. Out of respect for my spouse, I would like us to remain anonymous, including email address.
Well, you mustn't be new here.
I recently came across your podcast and really enjoy your content and felt compelled to reach out to you for resources. Recently, I found out my wife of almost 8 years was in various emotional and online relationships, including exchange of explicit content.
She cheated.
She cheated.
So call it what it is. She cheated.
Yeah. One recently involved dates in person. However, she broke it off due to it feeling increasingly wrong prior to me finding out. When inquiring about reasons, it was, according to her, due to my withdrawal from her socially and emotionally during that time period, which was linked to some very hard years that I struggled with mental health resulting from my profession. I knew I was absent. We are high school sweethearts, and we have spent close to 2 decades in total together despite some of the separations we had in high school and early college. We have a young daughter together. I wish to move forward with our marriage and save it. What advice for both of us do you have in moving forward? How would you proceed? If already covered in an episode, can you point me towards which one? Thank you for your time. Your content has been very enlightening and has helped us during these times. This is an editor's note. As this email was very short, I sent out a response with the links for a check-in video playlist. What follows is his wife's follow-up email.
Okay, before we move anywhere further, I just want to touch on the fact that he addressed that he had mental health issues. They had a lack of intimacy because of it.
Yeah.
If I am going through, if you are going through, because we know how prevalent the whole sex is more important to men than women conversation is. If you were going through a 2-year or 3-year bout of depression and you're going to therapy and it's something that you can't walk away from, right? Maybe he's hypothetical. Maybe he's the sole breadwinner and he's making $500,000 a year at this job and he knows he's not going to be able to easily find another job and he's putting out feelers and he's trying to make things work. And this year or two is a year or two of just mental health crisis that he can't just walk away from. He could. Right. The choice is always there to do that. It would just blow your life up. If that was you and I would just suffer with you for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
You're going through it. I need to be understanding. I would still like to think that there would be occasional needs met in terms of sexuality, but I also, if you were like clinically depressed, crawled up in a ball, fetal position, can't get out of bed, like real depression, not just I'm sad. Mm-hmm. There'd be a whole lot of leeway given there. You know what I mean? Like, but there's a difference between just not being happy and actually being clinically depressed. I don't know. I just wanted to touch on that. I think it's kind of shitty that he knew he was going through some mental health shit. She obviously knew he was going through some mental health shit.
And nobody was doing anything about it.
Right. And instead of being the support system and being the crutch that he needed to lean on, she started talking to other dudes, right, and made it about her.
Yeah. All right, so are we going to get into the wife's email?
Sure.
Dear Chris and Peaches, hello. My husband emailed a few weeks ago to get some advice to help us move forward in our relationship. Backstory, he and I have been together on and off since high school.
Off and on since high school.
Well, that's not what he said.
That's correct. Correct.
He said that you guys were a little rocky in high school and early college, but since then y'all have been solid.
Yeah.
All right, so right off the bat, we got mismatching stories.
Well, this is perspective.
Right.
He views it as them being together for the last 20 years, and she views it as an off and on rocky relationship.
Man.
This is the importance of the check-ins.
Yeah. Every time we split was because I was living in an abusive household, and that was all I knew as a child. I felt like it was what I deserved, the abuse. Every time we split was because I was living in an abusive household. So you guys weren't living together?
Well, they were in high school. So in the beginning, if they were on and off again, she's blaming it on her home life.
Okay.
That's little kid shit though, right? Like you're a teenager still. You're in high school, you're a teenager.
Okay. So this isn't just talking. the encompassment of the relationship is
Right.
just okay. Backstory: my dad was in and out of jail since he was 16 and had met my husband's father because of that. My father-in-law was once a correctional officer, and because of that, my dad had an issue with me being with my husband because he's a cop's son. He was my first love. We have been together straight through this time since around 2011.
What a stupid fucking statement.
Because he's a cop's son?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that tells me right away that that dude is either still doing illegally shit or is fucking stupid.
Oh, yeah. Immature as fuck.
Right. I know a lot of police officers. I have a lot of friends who are police officers.
Yeah.
And I can have conversations about a lot of really sketchy shit in front of them. I know some police officers who do criminal shit. Having somebody in the family that's law enforcement goes a long fucking way.
Yes, it does. Because of him pushing me to better myself, I got over being anorexic and I had gotten over self-harm. I also got a college degree due to him pushing me, knowing that I could do it. He had more faith in me than I had in myself. During college, we had one huge argument that I remember, and it was over a female friend that he had who was actively flirting and everything with him, and he was not shutting it down. He also communicated our arguments and issues with other female friends. After we graduated college, we moved on our own in like 2015, and he got his first nursing job. During that time, he started shutting me out emotionally and not communicating with me on what's going on in his head or at work, and spending 90% of his home time gaming if he was not sleeping. I had thought that it was something that I had done and had struggled with that alone and feeling isolated because we were living an hour away from all of our families.
What did you do about that?
Right?
Did you have a conversation about it? Did you convey, like, hey, I'm fucking going through it also, and all you're doing is playing video games, and I fucking miss you? Can we do something other than you game tonight? Can we go get dinner? Can we go watch a movie together? Can we just not game tonight and spend time on the couch? Like, did you have any type of conversations, or did it look like all you do is play video games?
I'm going to be honest, I don't know. Because all she said was, I had thought. So she came to her own conclusions. And that to me sounds like there was nothing happening there. That she was taking in information. She's the judge, the jury, and the executioner here.
Well, let's role play that real quick.
Okay.
Because video games are a thing. I play video games. Mm-hmm. Give me the incorrect way to tell me that you want me to play video and stop playing video games, and then give me the correct one. Give me the way that you think most people talk about it. How about that?
Okay.
Get nasty.
Okay, let me get into the mindset.
Okay.
I'm so healthy now.
Right?
I'm like, no, that's an I statement. No, that's an I statement. Okay. Okay, so I need to, like, am I just like initiating this? Have we been talking about this?
I've played video games every day from the time I got off of work until the time I went to bed for the last 3 months. Days off, I've been playing the video game. I've been into different games, and I've been playing to completion,
Okay.
achievement hunting, the
All
whole
right,
nine.
I'm ready. I'm over the fucking video games. I'm fucking over it. I'm miserable. I'm not happy, and you're not who I married. I don't know what this is, but something needs to happen or I'm leaving. I am 100% giving you an ultimatum right now.
Yeah, and how do you think that would play out? Because in a situation where you were talking to me like that, like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Like, this isn't
Supposedly my husband.
This isn't how we talk to each other. And if you want me to stop playing video games, would you like to go outside and hang that fucking attitude on a hook and come back in here and try that again? Like,
now you think I have an attitude?
we would be fighting, right? Now, give me the polite way to do it, because you're getting a little worked up and I don't like it. Carrie said, I'm getting nervous there.
Babe, I miss you. I don't know what's going on with you, but there's distance here. And the man I fell in love with didn't play video games all the time. This is abnormal for your behavior, and I'm concerned. Is it something that I did? Is it situations outside? Is it family? Are you battling your own demons? What can I do?
Based off of his email, well, work has been a lot of stress lately. I'm going through it mentally and I'm fucking depressed. And this is what I'm using as escapism to not bring this shit into the house.
Is there something that we can do to supplement some of the gaming? Because I get that you're going through it. I am now by proxy going through it because my man's not okay. And when you're not okay, I'm not okay. I need more intimacy.
That's how that's supposed to look. There was no hostility. There was no fuck you. There was pure concern. And I miss you. That's how those conversations should look. And when we get emails and people are like, we've had these conversations over and over again, the second scenario is not how I perceive that in my head. Because if you have the conversation the right way, you don't have to have them over and over again.
Right. I'm waiting for my heart to stop.
That's because that's not who we are.
I don't live my life like that anymore.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's exhausting. Trying to think of ways to purposely hurt somebody with my own words.
So the amount of people who don't have to think about it because that's just who they are and the way that they have learned to communicate. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. That is why we tell people to check-ins over and over and over again. In the beginning of our courtship, we would have had conversations like that if we would have actually ran into like real problems. Because even when we first had a disruption, the first disruption was
6 or 7 hours long.
Very volatile.
Yeah.
Right? And it was still from a place of we really don't want to do this to each other. But there was still some shit said that was out of the side of the neck. And like,
yeah,
it still was not a great communication. But the more you do the check-ins and the more you understand how to talk to your person and what makes them tick, it's a whole lot easier to just have a smooth, hey, this is what I'm going through right now. Like, I kind of need you to be there for me. If I told you that I was going through it, I'm mentally fucked up and like, this is my escapism. And you're like, well, I don't fucking care. I'm sick of this shit. Well, fuck me. Now I have a horrible work life and a horrible home life. Now,
what about my happiness?
Now the escapism is looking like 45 ACP and not an Xbox controller, right? Because nobody fucking gives a shit about me. Why should I give a shit about me, right? Like it really cascades.
Continuing on.
No, because this is a great reason and a great time for me to plug the Patreon for you guys. We're recording, like I said earlier, in front of our Patreon community. And here are some of the comments right now. All of these are from Zach, who is part of the To Be Better podcast. But it says, I miss having time with you. I'm not sure what is going on. I would like to have more time with you. If you are going through something, I want to help you however I can. If there is not anything in particular, can we try to figure out a way to balance our time so that both of our needs are being met? You hear how fucking smooth that is compared to the back and forths? You guys are missing a lot by not being in the chat.
I really think I can make it as an actress. Mel Gibson is still making movies, right?
He's old as fuck.
I feel like he would be on board. He's done some pretty outrageous shit these last few years. Going against the grain.
Yeah, it's not just the last few years. It's been like the last 20.
Yeah?
Yeah, Hollywood tried to cancel his ass a while ago.
Really? He has, after these recent events, disclosed to me that the issues he faced at work, being a critical care RN, and working in COVID critical care unit, he felt that he was shielding me and using his games as a coping mechanism to avoid troubling me.
So this happened after the fact. This was disclosed after the fact.
Yeah, because there was no inquiry as why it was happening.
Right. Something to really consider. I don't fucking trust people.
Right.
And when I hear things like that being said after the fact, is it that you didn't know how to process it in the moment and that's what you're assigning to it now? Or are you using that as an excuse for your behavior?
Right.
Because having the conversation in the moment about what's going on, it's a lot harder to make excuses and lie about it versus having 6 months to really think about what was going on and how you can bend this.
Doctor it up.
Right. I'm not saying that he's a liar. I'm saying that I don't trust people and I overthink everything. We should talk about the Superman thing before we wrap up.
Okay.
The whole kid aspect of it.
Oh my God. I convinced myself that I would be a better parent as Superman than Superman is.
Yeah, we'll get into that after the email.
Okay.
As you were starting to get comfortable over there.
It was a whole thing last night.
Yeah.
I would not shut up about his parenting.
We can't just watch TV anymore. It's so fucking... Our toxic trait is we have to pause every 5 minutes and break down every fucking scene and how much bullshit that is and how we would do it better and how much better we are and fuck these guys. And
if I had laser vision, I would have done this differently.
Could you imagine being able to get paid to play make pretend all day long?
I could.
Like that's just your career?
For a very long time, I wanted to be an actor. I can 100% picture that and imagine that. And
In scenes where they're doing green screen work, you're having
imagination.
imaginary friends.
Imagination. Carrie knows what's up. She did the rainbow hands, guys. All right, continuing on.
Yes.
He has since been very open with what he has gone through and currently going through. In 2017, we welcomed our daughter into the world, and I sort of fell into me being a stay-at-home mom role. So it wasn't chosen
Yep.
or
Sort of
decided.
fell into. There was definitely not a conversation.
Not a this is what I want. Okay.
Yep. You don't fall into that.
Yeah.
You talk about it so that everybody's on the same page, because it doesn't take much for two people to have two very different perspectives of a situation.
Continuing on, I was dealing with postpartum and all of the pregnancy hormones and still feeling isolated. Near the ending of my pregnancy, I started looking elsewhere online for that attention. After these recent events, okay, now I'm massively confused. What recent events he disclosed to you? Him finding out that you cheated on him? That's when he disclosed all the things that were happening because there was an actual conversation of what's happening in your guys' lives?
Maybe these recent things were the video games and the pulling away. Or no, there was a year jump there, wasn't there?
I don't know where we're at right now.
Okay.
Because it started off talking about high school and then college and how he would talk about their arguments with other women.
Right.
And then the gaming thing. He has, after these recent events, disclosed to me the issues he's faced at work, being a critical care nurse and all the other kinds of things, and using gaming as a coping mechanism.
Okay.
But we're jumping back to 2017 now. Okay, I'm just going to continue reading.
Okay.
Near the ending of my pregnancy, I started looking elsewhere online for attention. None of these people lasted long because I started disconnecting from them.
Not because you were fucking cheating on your man, but because you were disconnecting from them while you were pregnant with his kid. Assuming that it is his kid.
Yeah. Soon after our daughter was born, we got married. On and off, my husband would try in our relationship and then slip back into basically ignoring me and only seeking my attention when he was in the mood. Or he slipped back into depression, and every time he felt like I have enough energy to love her, I'm going to make it a point to do it today, he did.
It's a good way to look at it. It is perspective. Your perception is your reality, and the way that you
Right.
choose to look at the situation is exactly the way it'll be. Yep.
It's been a really, really long week, and I know that she doesn't feel loved. I'm going to come home Friday night, and I'm just going to give her everything that I have. Maybe all week he was looking forward to surprising you that night.
Yeah.
Got a little extra nap in on his break instead of eating lunch just to make sure that he could stay awake long enough. Whatever the case may be.
Could also speak to, the mental health of the job.
Yeah.
Knowing that this job has affected his mental health the way that this job has affected his mental health, he needs to find a different line of work.
Yeah, I was about to say maybe this isn't the career path for you. I understand wanting to help people and be a part of the greater good of things and know that what you're doing is having real impact.
Yeah.
Right? I've done the behind the desk work. I don't feel like I'm doing anything by typing up documents on a computer for 8 hours a day.
People who deal with death and things of that nature, you need to learn to compartmentalize. You also need to understand all of that is just a part of life.
Yeah.
Nobody gets out alive. Like, we are all going to die one day.
Yeah.
And some people are going to die really horrible things. Like, that's just the way that life is. It's going to happen. There are some people who are a whole lot easier it's a whole lot easier for them to deal with that than others.
Yeah.
It wouldn't faze me at all. Now, dealing with little kids, that would be a different situation. So
That's the only reason I didn't become a mortician.
Yeah. Right. Like, we all have our limit.
Yeah.
And if his limit is this job is really fucking hard for his mental health, he needs to find another way.
Yeah.
I think the bigger picture here is that there's been a whole lot of bullshit that's happened between the two of them over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
They've accepted that this is just the way their life is, and neither one of them are trying.
I agree.
She's putting in effort with other people,
but not him.
and he's not putting in it at all.
She's taken a lot of things very personally too.
Right.
Yeah. Continuing on.
Yep.
Then COVID hit, and he totally shut me out worse than he did before. I started seeking attention elsewhere.
Again.
Then COVID hit, and he totally shut me out worse than he did before. I remember when COVID hit America. Elderly were dropping like flies.
Yep.
people who already have compromised immune systems, disabilities, those kinds of things are at a much greater risk. Our hospitals were overflowing.
Depends on where you lived.
Our small town hospitals weren't doing bad. But like New York City,
Yep.
San Francisco, those big hubs definitely were not doing well. And if he is working at a hospital that saw an influx of patients during COVID, I can understand why he withdrew.
Yep.
I couldn't imagine telling family members, no, you can't go see your dying grandmother. And then having to walk out there a day or two later and let them know that, yep, she passed. And now I have to deal with the beratings and the screamings and all of the other emotions that people are feeling because everything is out of our control right now. Probably having to deal with kids. Why can't I go see my mommy?
I don't know where the rest of this email is going, but I can tell you right now with the way that it's been written so far, if I was this dude and I heard this email, I would leave this chick.
Yeah.
Just because I know that every time the relationship gets a little bit off, her go-to is going to get attention from other people online.
Yeah.
I don't want to live like that. I'm sorry. You obviously need something I can't provide. I'm not the one for you.
Yeah.
I hope you have a great life.
You need more than I can give.
Yeah. And that's not a pity me
That's
thing.
okay.
This is me telling you flat out, like,
go live the life that'll make you happy.
right. And there's a difference between somebody going, oh, I'm just a piece of shit, you could do better, because that's manipulation.
And then acknowledging, I see the patterns in your behavior.
Right.
Clearly, I am not what you're looking for.
That's it. I wish you the best. I'm out.
Find it. Continuing on. Not all of the attention seeking was romantic partners, and it was always online.
That doesn't fucking change anything. Well, it was only online, so it doesn't count. If he was talking to other girls on video games, would that be a problem for you? Well, I mean, it's only on the video game.
There have been long time frames when I wasn't talking to anyone except my husband. I'm not trying to be a bitch. Just hear that sentence. Just hear that sentence. There have been long time frames where I wasn't talking to anyone except my husband. This is the brokenness in women that I try to comment on.
Oh, but girl, you deserve better. He's not giving you what you need. Go get your bag.
I thought you wanted a provider. I thought you wanted a man who is goal-oriented and has dreams and ambition and all these other kinds of things. The good comes with the bad. It's a balance of the scales.
You and I both took talking to as in having inappropriate conversations with somebody other than her husband.
Yes.
Zach took it as literal, meaning that she needs to have a community and conversations with other people. And because I know he took it that way, and he's in the chat saying those things, it's important that we address that.
Okay.
I took that not talking to anyone other than my husband in a way that means she's not flirting, not being sexual,
not seeking attention,
not emotionally cheating, not divulging, none of
right.
that. There's a difference between having a friend and talking to somebody.
Yeah, there's a difference between community and cheating.
Yep. Just wanted to make sure that you and I are on the same page.
Yep, I agree with that. I guess the longest time frame that I was talking to another man outside of my marriage was March to October. Ooh, damn, girl, you're almost a whole pregnancy. I do want to take a second and acknowledge that it's not easy to admit that you've done shitty things.
Not at all. Kudos to you for even being the fucking...
Right.
Yep.
Like, knowing that your man emailed us in and you wanted to follow up shows me, I'm not going to speak for my husband, this shows me that there is something here that you want to fix. Because you're airing a lot of your dirty laundry right now. And I'm not reacting most pleasantly to it.
Yeah, there's definitely an air of that shit happened.
Yeah.
For sure. And I do respect that.
Yeah.
The issue that I have is, and unless there's changed behavior and
or acknowledgement that this is not okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Then it's not going to change anything for me.
Yeah.
But knowing that that's her normal
go-to
mode of operation, like I don't want to deal with that.
I want to just take a second. This is just me speaking out loud about myself. I'm really proud of myself on my own journey with my self-control and moderation and things. When I stopped drinking, when I was a massive alcoholic, when I stopped drinking, I really leaned into smoking cannabis. And that became my replacement for my alcoholism. And we're going on... I don't even know how many days it's been at this point. And last night, I had 2 glasses of wine. That's the most wine I've drank in a single night in a while. And I was not drunk. But I definitely was, there was a little bit of a buzz going on and I felt good. And once I felt that, I was like, okay, I don't need any more. I'm done drinking. And that was enough for me. I am somebody who usually consumes in large quantities. Everything. Food, shopping, drinking, things that can be unhealthy when taken to extremes. And last night was one of those moments where I recognized that I have gotten to a point where I am able to enjoy extracurriculars and still maintain control of myself. I don't feel weak anymore, and that's nice.
Danish asked if you're going to get back into true crimes.
You know, I was laying in bed last night at 1 o'clock in the morning thinking about you and Lorna. And I was like, gosh, when was the last time I paid them? And when was the last time I asked them to do a true crime thing? And it dawned on me that it's been a couple of months.
Yeah.
Well before Thailand. Mm-hmm. Our life is so hectic and guys, I'm not kidding. I really feel like I'm living one long day with a lot of naps in between it.
I love it.
My bedtime is nap time. And it just keeps going.
It's not boring though.
No, it is not boring. Not at all. Our life is fantastic and wonderful and stressful and emotional, and I would not give it up for anything.
Exciting.
I feel like exciting doesn't encompass it. It's adventurous and oh God, so much. But yes, the answer is yes. I do want to get back into true crime. It's probably going to be after the first of the month though, with To Be Focused coming into fruition. And we now have to integrate that into our schedules. We're going to be doing, this is a whole nother gig that we're starting. So we'll get there. We'll get there.
I'd be down to sit in the whiskey room with you and have a drink while you drink and do your true crime stuff. I know that I'm not Lauren the mortician.
Yeah.
But I am definitely a lot better to look at. I mean, no offense, but I'm your husband. So I would imagine that you like looking at me more than her.
Like,
That was not a disrespectful statement.
You're my favorite thing to look at.
I can just not put a camera on me and sit in my underwear and drink whiskey. I know. Oh, I'll get done.
I want to request that. Do like an endurance test.
See how long you can go?
See how long I can go for.
Yeah.
On this next episode of True Crime, we're talking about peaches. Continuing on. My husband has found out about everything in October due to another situation that has nothing to do with me talking to anyone. My husband had found out about everything in October due to another situation that had nothing to do with me talking to anyone. Okay, that sentence didn't hit me right the first time I read it.
It still doesn't hit right. He found out about all of her previous bullshit this October because of something that has nothing to do with her doing foul shit.
Right.
Something had to have happened for him to have found out about it.
Right. So maybe other foul things were happening and they just compounded. Continuing on. He stumbled across me being on a 3-way call with a friend and her boyfriend. And my friend put her phone down to do something, and he heard the man talking and then wanted to see my phone because he thought I was only talking to the man. After that, he had found out about everything in the past. At this point in time, I had already cut ties with the guy that I was talking to. Current events. My husband had emailed y'all, and since then, we have done your check-ins for 2 weeks now, and I have been religiously watching y'all's podcasts. We have been trying to work through everything, and I'm actively standing by him with what he is going through emotionally and validating that his emotions are valid. We have talked about what is to come in the future. I start therapy on December 4th to work through childhood trauma and all my self-love issues and to work on myself.
Okay, so that shows that there are steps being taken to remedy the foul shit that happened in the past.
Right.
Love the ownership.
I love it too, yeah.
Okay.
This is exactly the change. This is the action that we talk about, guys. When you want to prove that there is remorse for your behavior. Her going to therapy and acknowledging all of these things and telling her man about all of it, if that's how it came to, right? Like, say he heard the phone call and he was like, I'm insecure about this. What's going on? And she was like, oh, fuck. It's now or never. And she just laid it all out on the table.
Yeah, I agree.
Could have lied by omission for the rest of your life.
Yep.
That is action.
And then the follow-up stuff too.
Right. Yep. I used to be this woman, seeking out attention elsewhere when I felt like I wasn't getting it from the relationship instead of just communicating to my person because I felt like my person would just berate me about it.
Yeah. A lot of people feel like when they get to that point, like, what's the point?
Right.
Right? The relationship's already fucked up.
Oh, I was far gone, checked out. Like, we had stopped having sex for months by that point. 100% in a sexless relationship. Nobody was happy. Everybody's miserable. We're staying together because this is what we've been doing.
Necessity.
Yeah. Not even necessity. It's going to take energy to change our lives, and we're just lazy and complacent right now. Continuing on. He is also going to be going to therapy, and we will also be doing marriage therapy.
That's how that should look.
Yes.
I know that a lot of people can't afford to do all three, her, him, and together. But if you can, that's the answer.
Right.
Yeah.
Once we are in a good place, I will be proposing to him again. And even if he says no, I will still be staying at his side. Why are we proposing? What's proposing then?
Maybe they're trying to renew their vows or change their, start anew, like a fresh slate.
Oh, yeah. That threw me off for a second. I thought we were in a different email. I was like, if you want to be married and this man tells you no, why would you want to stay with someone who doesn't want to be your husband?
Right.
Totally forgot that this was a 20-year. Okay. Continuing on. I am extremely grateful that he has chosen to be willing for us to try and work through this. Since watching y'all's podcast, I have put some of your advice into my marriage, and I am trying to fall into the traditional marriage in some aspects. I am no longer a stay-at-home mom, but I'm only working when our daughter is at school. I have also been making sure that I am off every Sunday and at least one day during the school week when he is also off, so that we can have that family time and also have time when him and I can have that alone time.
Love that.
We have also been having date night at least once a week. We are both feeling a lot of anxiety when we are not together. But when we are together, we have been having way more happy times than we have had since high school.
Because you guys fixed your relationship.
You finally talked about it.
Right.
You finally found out what was wrong with him. You recognized it wasn't you. Read the 4 agreements. Please. Please, please, please read the 4 agreements. Continuing on.
Yep.
The butterflies are even back, and I feel so seen by him, and I believe that he is feeling seen by me now also. Basically, I am emailing to tell you everything in my own words and to thank you both for responding to my husband's email and giving us the tools to start putting in the work for trying to get us past this. This is not what I expected it to be.
Nope. I expected this to end very differently.
I am proud of this woman.
Excuse me. I love the ownership.
Yeah. This is the actions that in my mind differentiates a female from a woman.
Yeah.
Just because you have a vagina and the reproductive ovaries and all those kinds of things does not make you a woman. Just like having a child does not make you a mother. It's a title that you earn through your actions.
Mm-hmm. It also speaks on the stupid shit that we do when we're younger.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're going to make a whole lot of mistakes in your 20s.
Right.
That doesn't excuse it. It doesn't say that it's just going to automatically be forgiven. You should try not to, but you should also have a little bit of grace with yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Like, especially if you had a traumatic childhood.
Right.
That first decade of your life away from your abusers and away from your household where you're trying to figure out life, you're an infant in the world. Like,
Now you're right. You're a baby all over again.
right.
You have opposable thumbs and you can talk this time.
Yeah. You got to figure your shit out.
Yeah.
Hang on. I need to say something. I need to correct something that I said earlier.
Okay.
Earlier, I was like, based off of everything that she's laid out, because of the way that she is, I would have left this, like,
Yeah.
showing that she's going to bounce every time that she needs attention.
Yeah.
Knowing that she actively made change. It's proof that people can change.
Correct.
And it's showing that they found the communication necessary to do it, and they're working through the infidelity. That shit can happen. It's obviously a thing.
It's a choice.
I just want to point out that they made this work.
Yeah.
So me in that moment being like, I wouldn't fucking live like that. There would be no trust because it's been an ongoing repetitive thing that was in college. So it could have been 5 or 10 or 15 years ago. We don't know because it wasn't stated. But there was proof there that like change happens.
Yeah.
Okay. I just needed to make sure that that was specified because earlier in the episode, I was like, I'd fucking leave.
No. Well, I agreed with that statement, and I agree with your revised statement as well.
Accountability.
Context certainly matters for things.
That's why when we tell you guys that we get a pinprick of your life, we are literally looking at your entire existence through the pinhole of a fence
That you typed up.
Right. So that pinhole could be a pinprick or a 16 penny nail or a fucking,
Cannonball.
yeah, we don't know. It depends on what you give us. So, yeah.